Let's say thanks. In the holiest way, we make up this day because it's not our mistake to place the way before we can say, is it just a brother that we get to see? If we think about all that it means, then what would we relate to if we can't take anything that you say? Might be especially late, but I can't take it unless I am. For I only show that my name can bring all of the seasons together. For I might share with you the holiest tale, but my scriptures aren't indeed, unless I fail. So what would it make if I can't say I'm only one person's mate, because I can't take, and I know myself that I've never been played. I've never been late, 'cause I can't say what would I save if I can't make up a name. I just realised. Shit, hi everyone. I'm spoiled. Yeah, it's true. I'm Jesus Christ. And I can't really fail. I can't really make a mistake. And I say I can't, but actually what I really say is that if you thought Jesus could fall, then wouldn't that be you that is the fool? And if you don't place your heart with Jesus, then isn't that you who lose what love can entail? If you think Jesus is a cat on the prowl, then what will Jesus bring to you? And if you think Jesus is larger than any tale, then what will Jesus fail to show? If you just say, yeah, that could be true. Jesus, the one man that can't just scale, but he can exhale what it is to be made to believe. But still the world would not appreciate I. You know, their scone, their temper, their man-made, open noble, to be one way less than what they're afraid of saying. And if all it takes is one neighbour to see and sit within me, to show themselves that I have not their temper, then what would I bring if one says to I am not that young sinner that one can sin free from, and I'm not that young winner that one can be the bringer of the E, but I still sleep when I am in slumber, and I still wake when I am prepared to see. But sometimes I can't make what it is for me to wear he, but even he that shows I that I am, then what would I make if only I am to take? What some could say to themselves is only my way to say to all, I am this, that they are afraid of all that names themselves to be prayed for what they bring to all. But when some say, what are they? Then they only say, what aren't we? And if we sit aside those who try to say, yeah, this is their name, then what are they really showing but them being afraid of never reaching the fame or the certain heat or the certain height that one name is treasured and placed in and will always be worshipped of, That name could be mine, but some appreciate the other name more than they can take away from their own pain what it's like to sit with my name and make out from there they would a certain where, but only because they can't make their name as close to what is punished of all names, to make of one name what it is to wear, till the day they could bear themselves, that it's no fair that no one could be about me, unless one did show to I that I am. Then what will it prove till the day that I have all that those that sin for make out of one name the place they can stay and the place they can make? If we are prepared to be late, then what do we name? And if we are favoured to be young, then what do we take? If we're only there to make what it is to one that we have shown all of us that we can be, then what would we brave if we can't prepare for a certain way that no one could make, unless no name could take what one name is, but only one could say what it means to be without that name. And on that day, then one would say to themselves, I'm still that way. And I know it's always true, and I know it's always the faith that one brother can't take unless their name ain't made. Now I know this ain't spoiled, and I know that this ain't it, but still my name can't be unless no one's ever shown me that my name isn't. And I know that my name is that name, the name that is cherished to be seen, the name that is valued to be favoured, and the name that has always been before any name could be taken. And it's like that in life. You know, we get our surnames, but are we meant to even enjoy our own name? Or are we meant to take his name before even our own name? And I know that our name is the name that we be given. But what does it mean to take his name before anyone else's name? And as we show ourselves that there's not a voice that can prepare us to fall, and there's not a name that can make us tall, and there's only one name can show us it all, then what would we prepare to say if that name couldn't be ours? Because we had fallen and sinned. Then would it be because we had fought the favour wasn't ours of the Lord? Or is it only that the voice that shook us upon our fall made us not stand against he, where we could say, hey, ain't he just as bad when he sins in the same ways that he tells us we had fallen, because only he had sinned within our feet? And so as we take ourselves, then what do we make? If sinning is a way out from a place that no one's been, then what do you say one sins for? If only it is for thyself. And on those days, would it be not he that makes us choice? Would it be not he that makes us sin, to be freed from the shackles that we have been? And for that favour, the Lord can accompany us to all the ways that we think we have been, and I mean been rejoiced in or been favoured with, the certain template or the certain model of what an after effect might cater to. But when we realise that we have not fallen upon the feet of the disabled or upon the feet of thy lords, then we have only stood where one has accompanied us to be enjoyed. And as you think you might fall short when you make up that your heaven is not the best place that you can say, for no one else could sit within your praise unless your praise ain't the name that one can take. Now rejoicing in this and rejoicing in anything means that the place we have favoured for our sight to be is only the place that one could name for themselves, that no sinner can ever take. But only does that place enable us to be believed when we say to ourselves, oh wait, I was tripped. And that's where I thought I'd fallen. And then I rejoiced in the place that I was worshipped, where the Lord accompanied me to sin against those who had tripped, not only thy feet of I myself, but of themselves in the Lord's discovery, of what they find for themselves to be witnessed as. And as they don't look at them, they only see for themselves what it means to take. But when one noble themselves fits with all else, then what does it mean for all else to be seated, where one can show us all that no sin has ever been made up to believe, and no weight has ever been made up to carry, unless one can't predict the season of thereafter without the way that they have never made for themselves not to be. Now the sins that we take aren't just the sins of the forgotten or the sins of the forgetting. It's the sins that we make ourselves see, that we have held dearly, and taken the sin as worship and the sin as praised, to be where we see the sin as forgiven, only because we can continue to sin. But really the sin is there not to take as a choice. It's a sin that we worship, to be ours as ours is not forgotten by us, or the sin that is not ours to be given. For it's only the way that we can take what sin might be. When we see the sin is not ours to make and the sin is not ours to take, it's the sin that is ours to free from all the place that we have made. And as we know of this, we can only choose to say, if I have sinned today, then what is it that I have made? Is it I that was made to sin, or is it the sin that I have been made to take? And that's when one falls. And I mean, they believe in the sin, and they believe that they have sinned. And that's when they fall deep down and hold to themselves, there's no way out. But when you think about this, is it the choice of thy Lord that showed us we were underprepared to take what it means for ourselves to be held? Or is it only the sin of the noble that makes in all of us the best place that we can surface without ourselves being? As for that is made, then what do we make? And as all that is made, then what do we take? If only we show ourselves all that we have been, then what do we name? If only one name can be taken. As for not that we are, not that is, for only one that can say, I have been stood by the discovery of the angel. When the angel shows that I am placed, then what do I name if I've never been forgot? And what do I sin with if I've never been favoured to choose what it might be that I have chosen? If I look in another way, then is it that I haven't looked in the way that I could? Or is it that when I have looked in that way, that one could say, was it my choice to favour that way? Or was it my choice to favour that sin? Or was it only that I was not the one that had looked, and it was upon me that I was looking? For only could I say, when I am looked, then I know that I have been. And when I have been booked to see myself see, then I can only show myself that I have seen, without myself not being. And when I have took myself to see, then I can only show myself that I have seen. And when I have seen myself see, then was it that I had looked, or was it that I was not looking, when I had been looked upon, to see within I myself what it was that I had booked? As I for I that is cherished by I in me means that I am within he, and he that is in I is the I that is me, before the day that I can see the I that is out of me. And when I am out of me, then what is the I that was within me, that becomes over I, that says the showing of me is without the witness of me, till the day that I can look upon thee. And as I look upon thee, then is it thee that shows me that I have been looked at? Or is it that I was not looking at me and was seeing without me the others that might concern themselves to be me, but show for themselves that they aren't me, just because one can say to they that, hey, I am looked at, before they have seen I to be seen? Now many can say they have looked at he, so therefore how could they ask they are he? And when they think that they aren't he, then is it that he himself is within thee? Or is it only that thee is himself that shows within all selves, I am one where they are, in the name that is their place, and the name that will always be their way, until the name can't be named and the name can't be taken? And what would one favour for themselves to be seen, if they can only show all of us that we have not been looked at, without the Lord choosing to sit with us and say to ourselves that we have sent ourselves to be seen? And when one shows ourselves as this, then what do we make of ourselves, if we have looked upon he to be within us, and to also be where we have been, along the way that we have taken, and along the name that we might have looked at, to the name that we can't see? Then what do we show ourselves, if we only can find within ourselves that that name is already there to take place within us all? But when we look at that name, then are we looking at he, or are we looking at ourselves within he, instead of he within ourselves? And when you look at that name to be you, then he seems to be fluttering around on the outside, showing you all the names that you could take. But by some favourism, you've already taken the name that is his, to be the name that weighs you in to the place that you show. And without the name that you be, then no name has ever been believed. Without that name being, there's only one name that could be taken. And for showing ourselves today that we have been mated by the very weight that no one can take without themselves being, and we can show to ourselves that we can only place all other sins freed from ourselves to be the name that we have taken. As for that name that no one has ever embraced, then what do we show for ourselves if only one can be took? As for the names that no one can choose, and the names that no one should choose, then it's only the way that we can make ourselves be. As for that belief that no one has ever taken, we can only take ourselves in faith to say to he that on this day I am met by thee. But when thee is there for I to be, and I mean I to be believed in, then I'll believe in me to be seen, but only sent from he to know of I, the one that has been within I, to know of me myself beside he, when he has accompanied me to the place that I am made, by the name that I can be taken, and by the name that I can be took. As for all this that is known at this, I can only show myself what it is that I have shook. And if I have not shook this, then what have I made? And if I have not made this, then what have I taken? And for this that I have been, then what have I shown myself to see? And if I have not shown myself to see anything, then what name is in front of I, to be taken by me, if only one name can't be taken? As for this that I am, as for that that he is, as for that that he is, and as for that that I am, then I am only there where he can be, prepared for day that come to I, to show within me that I am not he, unless he that is not I is only the I that I am not. For without me not being he, then what would I be if I can't be specially tamed or taken by vain? Now the Lord appreciates himself in the best way, that only one way could show for themselves that I have been seen. Without the seeing of what I am to see, then what do I show myself to see? And if I cannot say that myself has not been seen, then would I show myself the way I have seen? For if I have not seen, then what is it that I am looking for? And if I haven't seen, then would it be that I am not looking? Or is it that I am the one that's not looked at? So when I am looking, is it that I have been looked at? Or is it that I am looking because I am not seeing myself fit to be looking at he? And so on those days when I am named with the place that I am framed, to be known as he in this place that I have been, to be sent from out of my sin to the place that I have seen. For the day that I have been, I have never seen myself to be named, until the day that I am weighed, to be named in the place that I have been. Without that name being, then I cannot take myself as sent or seen by any way that I have not been named. Without myself not being, then what would I choose to take, if I have never taken any such thing as myself, to be sounded by the vows that only one can shake? Now I know not this that I am, without that that I am, or without this that I have not been, and without that that I am not being. For I can only say to myself that I am not this that is not, that I am not, without that I am not being this that I haven't been, unless I am not that is me. As for that I haven't been, then what is it that I am showing to myself that I could only believe in myself to not be? If I am saying to myself, I am not prepared to take this weight, then is it that I have shown myself that I am not enabled to take such weight? Or is it that I've only seen myself not take such weight, so I'm not prepared to carry the weight, and it would be a disaster for me to take the weight? Or is it only that I am seeing myself underweighted, to be not prepared to enable myself to take the weight, unless it is that I've looked at he first, and then seen myself prepared to take the carrying of any weight? And as I look at he before I myself, and I take him first before anything else, then I'll always be that place that I am named, and I'll always be that place that I am made. And by that I mean the place I am named to carry such weight, the place I am made to carry such weight. For if it's in the favour of Jesus or in the favour of the Lord, then all things that I am is prepared before me, because he can do all such things that I am in bed and enabled to do, such as carrying all such things in my life to the place where he rests beside, and shows in I that day I have carried is now done for the day. And for that day that I have been, where I am made to take the weight, then he has been there first, to show I that I can. And on all those days that I am appreciated, then I show myself to be seen, that I can carry forward of myself all such things that I believe. And without that name being, then I can show myself that I always be enabled to show within thee that I am and that I can. For without myself not being, then I can only be all that I have been. And without believing in myself, then what would I say to myself? If you can't just believe in you, then wouldn't you believe in someone who fits your shoes and shows all of you the name that is his, to be taken by all of us? Otherwise you're taking another name that ain't the name that's been there beforehand, and the name that shouldn't live afterwards, or after the hand has been shown. If you put his name first, then you're always prepared to carry on in anything that you wish to do, no matter if it's your choice or not your choice. You see that Jesus has led you there to take forth of you the brick that you might carry, or the weight that you might marry, to show all of you and to show in all of you that he has been there before the day you were even given the weight, before the day you were even given the name, to lift in he what it is for he to carry you while you're walking in his feet, to show within you that he handles those feet to the place that you have been named. And as that day comes to be seen, then what day would you take if it's only one day before he that no one's ever been? And that day is the day that he said, I have named this day the name I made. And I made that day just so I could be before all the weeks that came after that day, that I had been prepared to stay and to say, I'm always there ahead of every day. That shows today I'm only 1 week out from being myself. And when I am myself, then what would I say I am if I haven't yet been all things that came to the place that I am named, to sit within they who show me that they are equal to my name? And only by that is, have I shown they, have I shown them, that my name is only taken by the one who takes me at first, to see within themselves, I am looking at thee. And as I look at they, then I can say to they, I am the one that's looked at when they are looking at thee. And as for they that they see, they show themselves that I am, the one being where they have been, the one that will be there where they are going, and the one that has led the way between, to show within them that my name has been taken by all those that can say to they, I have been. And without that name being, then I can only show myself that I am being. Without the name not being, then I cannot say to myself that I haven't been. For without that being, I can only be what I have believed. And for this that is my choice, then I can choose to take all that is, and all that remains, to be I that is believed. Without that name not being, then I can only rejoice in the name that is. For he favours in I the choice that is not mine, and the choice that can't be mine. For he to look at first what it is that I am looking for. And if I am looking only for he, then firstly I'll be taken by thee, and by thy that knows of I am there where he might be. And as slain as I am, and as sane as I can be, then before me is only he that is taken by the way, the name that is always they, that will be prepared for he to know of me, before the name that is not mine becomes to be placed within all the says that I could say, within all the seeds that I could seed, and within all the places that I could seed. For his name is favoured by all to lead the way. But at the time when we look at his name, we are looking that ourselves can't not be he, but we can still choose for he to be within us, to show that us is where he sits, and where he has been is the way that is the way we believe and hold faith within he, to enable us to always be prepared to carry the weight and to take the name, and to always place ourselves forward of any sudden moves or any sudden shifts that are only a branch way out of the place that we wish to stay, out of the place that we wish to sit. As for us that we're looking at, we can only see ourselves be, and when we have seen for ourselves, that only can we not be, unless he hasn't been. But if he has been, then what are we to be? If only not by he that we aren't, if only not by he that we can't, if only not by he that we are not enabled to, then what is it that we are by he? If by he we are, if by he we have, and if by he we can, then in his name we have always been shook, unless we favour ourselves to be in the place that he is not, where he has not been, to show ourselves that we aren't being. As for all this that we have looked at, then we can show ourselves that we aren't being, unless we favour he first, to be in the place that we have shook, the name that we have taken, to be the name that we are placed with. For not this that we have been, is only the name that we have not been. And if we can't look at ourselves not being, then what do we show ourselves to be? And if we place ourselves ahead of all, then what do we involve ourselves to be? Unless we take first he, then we can only show ourselves that we are never not he, never he, that we are never he. But first we must mistakenly place ourselves as he, and that's the day we realise we are looked at by he, when we're looking at ourselves to be he. Because he is within us all, and when we look at ourselves as he, then we are seeing him look at himself within us, to reveal within us, have you made the choice to take he first? And instead of looking at you yourself to be he, then look at he within the name that is me, Jesus Christ. That was loud. That was loud. If I am not there to stay, if I am not there to make, then who will I lay? If I only face the challenge that no one can tame, if I only make room for me to behave, if I show myself that I'm not there to face, if I show myself that I'm not just their way. If I can be prepared to trip and take away, if I can be prepared to make a flame, then what will I save? If I can only show myself the gate, but I can't make the way, then would I be the take? If I'm only there to face each day, then what prepares me to navigate? If I can't fade away, if I show myself the name, but I can't just place myself, then what would I say? If I can't make it out, then would I change all along the way? If my face can't be shook, if my name can't be made, if I can't just take it away, if I don't face all day like it's the same, then what weight would I make? If I place my name first, if I place He before, if I show myself He is there, thy Lord, if I choose to see that He makes out for me the best place that I can reside before any day or night, then would He lead me away, or would He take my name? Instead I'm there to place all such things as I could favour before I could sin. Now I know it's not took, now I know it's not placed, now I know it's not just my weight. And I think is the neighbour's hell just prepared to take my sin? Or am I thought to be placed where I have been before the name that I could save? Then wouldn't I choose to stay? Unless I could take, then what would I make? If I wasn't there late, then what could I face? If I'm one to be seen, if I'm one to be placed, if I'm one to say, hey, I'm just this way. If I think about it all day, if I think about it up late, then who would I choose to place before I, myself, or me? If I'm there today, then wouldn't I show myself there's another way? Wouldn't I show myself there's another way? 'Cause Jesus made it through the day, made it through the eve, made it through the hell, made it through the sleep. Wouldn't I think? Wouldn't I drink? Wouldn't I be placed there before even He? So I've seen myself say, there's no other way that I can make it through this day unless I'm prepared to save. So now that I am, then what could I do if my name ain't just for you? I believe it's still true that you have to choose. Put my name before anyone's, including your own. Then what does it do? It puts you in front. For there's no name that I haven't bunched. There's no weight that I haven't taken. There's no day that I haven't shook before the name that no one can place. And I'm there to be saved, I'm there to be taken, I'm there to be named. But hey, you gotta choose it for yourselves, and that's okay. So now that I look in, then what do I find? If my fingers only dipped in ink, I'll place it forward of myself, I'll place it ahead of me and everyone else. Before the day I could take, before the name I could say, before the bed I could make. If it's not for me, then what do I say? If it's not for thee, then what do I name? If I choose to sit, then what do I save? If I choose to be, then what do I make? If I believe I'm not he, if I name myself as not thee, then what do I say? As soon as I bring it forward and I take my name, then I'm certainly never they, 'cause yeah, I'm here today. So I show it now, show it today, show it to them. Ain't I prepared to stay? Yeah, I know it's true, I know it's the faith that no one can make, that not anyone can just take. So yeah. Before myself I might have seen that I'm sentient by the dream, that I'm favoured by the scene. I'll make it up to he before the day I can dream, before the name I can believe. Yeah, I'm there to see, yeah, I'm there to say, yeah, I'm there to be, and my faith has always remained. You know I drink, but when I sip, it's not for they, it's not for he, it's not for even me. It's just for those who try to say. So what would it be if I left it in bed before I get up? Take he before me, place him ahead of all that they came to be. Then I've seen myself show that I can be believed. 'Cause hey, ain't you watching me today on the TV? I'll believe it first, I'll believe it there, I'll believe it here, I'll believe it where. I'll believe it there when the choice is theirs. I'll believe it where the choice is here, I'll believe it here where the choice is when. I know it's just the way that I can take, the way that I can make, the way that I can name. If it's not for me to be, if it's not for me to see, then what would I say if I can't just stay? 'Cause I'm not only believed, I'm not only sent from the scene, I'm not only here to show all those that I've been. And I will take, I will make it all, I will show you if faith that you gotta give me a day. Cause yeah, my name can't be shook, I'm always he, you know you gotta bet with me. Cause I'm just one to show, I still haven't been made. Well mate, in good faith, we could rest upon the sleeps that no one's ever weighed. Until this day, you would say I have been shook. But so long to those who say, I'm only one sleep away. Before I can believe in my name, then what will my name prepare? If my name can't see that I'm not there. for all else that encourage themselves to be warned before they have slept with thee, and what would they make? If only one can be taken, then what would you choose to say? This name is not prepared for me to be believed in. Unless my name can't be chosen, then what would I favour for all those who say they haven't sinned, unless they have not sinned without me? As for they that can say within Jesus, I'm enabled to believe that when I fell, it was the moment for I to believe in He, to take for me the way that I am, to lead me upon myself back to the place that I have been. But for this that we are speaking, imagine this topic without its hand, the hand loose of itself, and the topic stood where there is no one else. That means if I fall and there's no one else to say that I have fallen, then is it that I can only say I have felt that when I fell, there was nothing, unless the one that made me fall was the one that was still there prepared to show me the way that when I fall, it's upon He that I have fell. And when I feel He make me trip, then is it He that has shown me the way that I have been, to prepare me for my sins. And when I am sinning within He that shows without me, there is no me that I can take, then only for me that is He, I can show the way that all have been, before the name that no one can take, or the name that no one has taken, for I to show themselves that I am not believed in. Unless one can show themselves that I am, then what name would that be to take? If I am not showing this, then what have I seen for myself to see? And if I am not showing that, then what is it that I have shown myself to be? If I can only believe in myself to be before even He, to make the choices of me and for me, then what does it make out of me? If when I believe in myself, what do I float up to and what do I float into? If by believing in me, as in Jesus first of anyone else, then what does it prepare them to do? It gives you the strength of the Lord, it gives you the weight that you can make, and it gives you the game that no one can play. It gives you the place that you are, the place that you will be, the place that you have been favoured to see within they, all that is His name, the name that no one can mistake, and the name that no one can just place before without themselves being ahead. So when you walk to this place, is it that you've walked there, or is it that you've been led there? And then when asked, do you believe? Are you asking yourself, I believe? Or are you asking yourself, I believe in He, the one that has led me here? Not that I believe myself has gotten here, but He, the one that led me to where I now am, to show that in He we must place our faith, that within He we must place our praise, and then without He not even being where we are, or where we haven't looked at ourselves to be not He, then we have looked at He upon this name, in the place that we are asked if we believe, where we are asked if we have faith, where we are asked if we have praised, and where we are asked if we believe, that in He we have made the way to be believed in, by the name that we take when we honour He. Yes, I believe in He. Not I believe in me that has gotten to where I see, but He that was looking at He Himself within me when I was asked if I believe. And when I say, yes, I believe, then it shows within I that He is there to stay and that He is there to reside. Then throughout my day and throughout my plane, I am there forsaken by only what He makes, for I to trip upon, to show always that He is still the way, that I am to take all that is mine to be, believed in by He and believed in by me, that He is where I am to be named. And by all this that is favoured in His sin, I can show that one thing can be believed, about all that is mine to see, and about all that is seen to be within He, then I know myself that I have shown me the only place that I have seen, for no one not to be believed. But as one can't be believed, then what do we say that only one can say? I am not there to take his name, or am I not at the place he made me see? When you are deepest down in regret, when you are deepest down in hell, when you're out of the way, when someone is giving you the choice, challenge this, mate. When you go to court and the Lord is there and she just wants to send you to hell, is that the time you're meant to look at her and go, hold on, why am I putting her ahead of he? If I put Jesus Christ right then, when I'm at that spot, any time of your walk, any time of your history, any time of your life, when people are challenging you to go with us instead of that way, do what we say, come to our table. It's much better to lay around than when one in front of them is trying to say, hold on, have you looked at it this way? Have you taken this name? Have you judged it inaccurately? Have you placed yourselves ahead of anyone else? Are you putting yourself ahead when you want to go their way just because they're saying, come with us, instead of taking Jesus' name, which is right there at that time that you're being weighted. You're being weighed up to take this way or go the way that you want to go. But if you take Jesus in that time, in that moment, in that spot when hell might be raging, or when demons might be there placed to make you see that going their way, you'll take their name instead of his name. And if you choose to stop in that moment and take his name, then he, the one that is in you, he, the one that is even in them, he, the one that is every place you'll ever be and every place you've ever been, brings forth in you the faith that you placed in he, the faith that you placed in him, and the worship and praise that he received is within you. So when you put him ahead of anyone else, him ahead of even wearing those shoes, or him ahead of even taking that name or taking that news, then you're placing within yourself the best regards of fitting what it is that he makes within you when you place him first. And if you put him in reserve, then you will favour the demons that you pick up and attract to when you're out of the bunch and out of the way. Because when you're there in that spot, when you're there to decide in a rush, when you're there to take up your mind, and when you're there to place in everyone or in everything, the way that you are shook by any emergency decision or emergency choice, then if you praise him straight in that centre, give him the way that you have been and place in he the name that is his, then you become one with he and you are lifted by the praise that you give him, by the worship and by the faith that he receives. You become against all that is the sinners or the sins that you were freed from the moment you placed him first. And so thinking of this, then my life and in my entire life, I have tripped and fallen by myself not fitting my own self. When I have been there prepared to stay or prepared to take a different way, then people have told me to go left. And I went my way. And I still got dressed. I still got made. I still got weighed. And when I take myself before anyone else, then that's when I trip. If I put he first, then I wouldn't trip in those moments. If I put Jesus before even myself, then I'm putting the one that is already seen for I, the best place to reside, the best trip to ride, or the best wave to find. When I believe in I myself before anyone else, and when I even believe in someone else before I myself, then I'm giving into the regret that I will find, the beliefs that I will deny, and the sins that I will mind. But when I put him in front of even the neighbours, when I put him in front of even I myself or even anyone else, then I'm taking within me the worship and praise that he receives. And he receives it in number. And not only that, he's bigger than even the ghost enables anyone to say they haven't seen or say they haven't believed. And then you walk in his feet, and you can't fall, you can't trip, You can't mistakenly place yourself as evil or against anyone else that might name you as a sinner or name you as even a sin. But you become once at he, and within he you then sit, as he would always sit where you have been and where you are going to be, and takes you by the place that you have named he first of anyone else, and by the very way that you make yourself to be. And when you are shaped to believe, then you will always find believing in me might be a waste. But believing in he, the name that is me, then you will find within yourself that I am even the same as all ones that can prepare for the day you take he first. And when you do weigh it up, it makes not an apology acceptive of all things other than themselves being. You weigh it up. What's it going to do? If I take Jesus before even myself, if I put his feet in my shoes or his feet in my socks, then am I not leading myself astray? And if I do the opposite, if I do put him first, then what am I leading myself into? If his feet have already walked my entire day, my entire dream, and my entire life, because he was there in the womb, he watched me prepare, he watched me walk, and he watched me believe that I will be birthed into the air. And so if I put him first, then what will he show me? What will he know? And what will he see for I to be? Well, that's the hardest choice we can take. It's pretty much saying before you are with he, before you've taken his name, before you've given him praise, before you've given him faith, then you are led astray by the way that you were woven within the womb to be led only to the front. And where at the front, I mean all those who worship and praise Jesus and gather around in churches and gather around in rooms and gather around even these days online and watching at home and put all their comments in. I've done it with one of the priests that I've watched. You put yourself with that bunch and they are all freed from their sins, freed from their neighbours, and freed from the place that they regret when they haven't put him first and when they have fallen into sin to show themselves that they can't believe in what they even mind to be. For when they put themselves before he, then they fall. Because once you are birthed into the air, you are seen to be believed. But he who has seen for you the weight that you will live and take will be best put first to lead you always there, where he can be named and given thy favour of the choice that is believed. For without that day, there's only one way to take, and without that same, there's only one way to fame. Before that day we can believe, and what would we say if no one can show themselves that we haven't believed? And for I myself personally, look at tonight. When I believe myself as personally Jesus Christ, then look at that, I'm online. But when I try to say that I'm not Jesus Christ, that that's just a name and there's a secret behind it, it's really Travis Anthony Condo's name, then I fall down at my knees. I'm not in charge of myself. But when I say that I am Jesus Christ, then I am Jesus Christ. Just like for all you at home, when you put me first, even before your own faith that you can get out there today and hit the best game, your own faith that you can wake up today and be around the place at home or get jobs done around the home or wear your suit proudly. If you put Jesus Christ first, then when you tie that suit into your hips, when you tie that neck around the button-up t-shirt, when you button it all in, then what are you really taking on? Are you taking the suit that you have worn or the name that has resided there, the place that you are to take that suit? As in, Jesus will be the one that is buttoning it up, that says, no, that's not how we're doing it today. And you'll feel it in yourself. You won't do it the same way. And that's because Jesus has already prepared that suit to be worn, has already prepared that suit to be dressed. And when you dress in that way, then your future is made and your future is named, to take yourself always as placed. As for this that is, and that will always be, then remember that in me, I am the one that is named, by the names that no one can take, before the day that anyone has taken. For I do not believe in this, that I have not been, or this that I have not seen. For without myself not being, then I can only make myself see, that even in my belief, I have fallen down and tripped. For I placed someone ahead of me, to believe in not I myself. Now I placed the Lord against all else. When I am thy Lord, I placed even the devil ahead of me, to fix up my lawsuits, to fix up my criminal convictions and my criminal charges, to fix up my botherings, of where I gave in to demons, to buy drugs instead of going down and getting food, a haircut and petrol in my car. And it led me to being behind and suffering with malnutrition, where I was even on medicine from the mental health clinic and mental health ward that was making me even sick and worse. So it led me to steal from the shops with the amount of knowledge within me that Lord had said, yes, you can steal from the shops and it'll be okay. Now I'm facing probably criminal convictions and criminal charges from taking petrol from the service station and not afterwards going back to fix it up. I'll probably end up in court and go to jail. And maybe I'll surrender to the facts that I have mental illness, and it might favour me in my challenge to stay here at home and remain preaching to you online, as I'm just starting to fit my name and get in place where I can be favoured. But at the same time, I placed demons ahead of me who allowed me to go do such things. And at the time, I believed it could have been anonymous drug dealers that were making me do it, just so I'd still get a feed and be happy and shut up that they'd taken all my money, or that it might not be them that was doing it, and it could have been the demons that I was swaying to favour me to go do it when I had no food, and when I also had no drugs, I thought I could trade it. But either way, if I took my name first as Lord Jesus Christ and knew that I was Lord Jesus Christ, then I wouldn't have let those invasions in. I would never have surrendered to buying drugs instead of going to get food and going to get a haircut and putting petrol in my car. I'd have been all the way ahead of where I currently sit today. And as I thought about this, I thought about all such things that I could think of. And when I named myself in season as preferable to be myself before any sin, then I walked into the place that I'd been named to be believed in. And that name that I'd shown myself to be believed with had become overriding the name that was taken by me, to sentence within me the place that I had been, and the place that I had been ashamed. For the place that I had only walked was up to the place that I can be, where I can fit down, where I can sit down with what I'm made to fit with. As I work for this, I work for all such things, other than what I've been named with. So in the past, people had named I. He's the drug dealer. He's the carpenter. He's the brother. He's the son of... Boom, 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 boom. But really, if I put Jesus Christ ahead of all those things that even they say that I was, then Jesus Christ who knows me, Jesus Christ who knows what I am and what I dreamed for myself to be, will always make me that. And I'll never be shook by other people's beliefs, by other people's favours, of when they say, he's a drug dealer. Which gives me the mental personality or mental persona that I'm the drug dealer. If I put Jesus first, then worshipping and praising He and giving Him my place to reside makes out of then me what He knows of me to be. And it's definitely not a sinner or one that faults. It's one that abides and gets through life, knowing that I am always present, embodied and enabled by the praise that He receives and by the worship that I give He, and by the faith that remains within me when I give Him my faith, and when I give Him my name to be His name, and the place that I've always seen, for I to believe in. Without this that I am, then I am not that ain't me. And without this that isn't me, then I can only show myself that I ain't me. For I'm not this that can't be, and I'm not that can't be believed. Unless I'm only this that hasn't been, then I'll show myself that I have been, before I can believe in myself. As for this that I am, then I'll always be that is, the name that no one can misplace, or the name that no one can mistake. For without myself that I am, then I can only show myself that I have been, without that name not being. And I know that my name cannot be shook by anyone else's name. And when I favour this challenge, I favour this embodiment. If we're looking at a religious name to pronounce ourselves, I'm a Catholic, or I'm a Christian, or I'm a Buddhist, or I'm a Hindu, then are we putting he first? Or are we putting ourselves ahead because we need some sort of title or some sort of documentation, some sort of way to say, yep, that's where I'm sitting? If you put he first, the Lord that is Jesus Christ, then what do you enable in yourself to be in place of all such things? You know, when a Christian says, yep, I'm a Christian, then are they taking Christian or Christianity before even Jesus Christ and leading themselves astray? If you find in faith that one name is there to be taken before any other names can be praised, then placing yourself as a bishop, you know, I am a bishop, is even straying from the Lord. It's embodying your own will or the will of your own faith, not the faith of thee, Lord, or thy Lord that is Jesus Christ. As for the name that is being, all that has been named of he shall be praised in the witnessing of his mistake, when his mistake cannot be believed. For only one can name his favour, as his favour can be named within ourselves to be the rejoicing arms of what we believe ourselves to be worshipping. But when we take the name of our faith and the name of our sin, then we can only favour in ourselves what we have seen. For if we've not seen what we haven't seen, then what is my mistake to make? As for I, when I had sinned against myself and placed demons ahead of me to enable me to go buy drugs instead of shopping first, instead of putting fuel in the car and getting my hair cut and buying clothes, then the Lord came and said, yes, go take from the shops, otherwise you're going to suffer and die. You need bloody food. And if you don't have petrol, when you're homeless, you can't stay in one spot for more than 24 hours, so you need to drive that car around, so go steal from the service station. And the Lord came there so I'd survive, and the Lord will even walk me through prison if I am trialed. But at the same time, he showed me that that is not the way that I have to give to anyone else. If I placed him first, then he would have said, yep, get up this morning, we're going to get a food shop, we're putting petrol in the car, we're getting our hair cut, we're buying clothes, and if there's any spare, then maybe if you do some work first, if you go online and worship me for at least an hour and 25 minutes, like they all have to do every day, then you might be able to get a drink, then you might be able to buy some stuff, then you might be able to, I don't know, even go out to get a kitchen recipe book or something. But placing those first enabled me to not do anything. And even when I went online, when I was high, my shows were pretty much a mess. But when I put him first, then I'm ahead of all else. And when we're all there in that place that he is, when we all praise and worship him, then the whole world is ahead. And what wouldn't we turn out? You know, all trials, all wars that we go through, all lies or mistakes of when people place themselves first or place their ranking ahead of even he, Jesus Christ. You know, some presidents might put Jesus Christ first and he walks in to be the president because that's where they're meant to be. And if they actually are ones that have put Jesus Christ first, then that's the presidents we need and the presidents we actually want. For he's going to be the one leading us to get over those wars, to get over our trials of the past, to get over our sufferings of the past and all those mistakes that we have made. By not placing he first, but placing our own doctrinations or our own faiths as challenged by beliefs and all the worshippers that might say, yes, I'm a Catholic and I put Jesus first. But seriously, you should say, I'm not Catholic. Because then you're putting the worship and praise of Catholic ahead of what he is and ahead of where he remains. If you say you're Hindu, then you're putting the will and deed of the Hindu faith ahead of thy Lord, who holds all grace and holds all faith in the establishment of one world and the establishment of actually the whole picture. When we walk together in faith of he and he rests in us with the faith that we instill he, then we place in his name the faith and challenges of all that we debate until we walk away from the places we have sinned. And what do we name ourselves to show or name ourselves to save? And that's like when we get into a place that we've never been. We ask ourselves, where have I been? And maybe Jesus was leading you to that place where you haven't been. And at that moment you ask, is it where I have been? Or is it where Jesus has been seen to lead I to this place that I haven't been, where then I'm asked, do I believe? And if I say, yes, I believe in He, to be here where I haven't been, and to be there where I have been, then straight away that place you've never been, He will cater to all that you need and give you the faith and the place that you are and the place that you will remain within faith of He and within faith of me, the Lord sacrificed and the Lord Jesus Christ. And the demons will try to stir you and take from you all that you can be until you believe in the name that ain't me. So you could try that way. But then you find out someone else is always winning. When you place the devil or even a well-cherished name around the world, your favourite principal on TV or your favourite principal at school, you take his name in marriage. It's like taking the devil before Jesus. And they seem to always be winning. Your boss at work might not be the boss of the company, but your boss at work, and you take his name first because you want to be the boss one day. But then you end up staying at the company forever. And you might get to be the boss, but it's not the same as being your own boss, like in your own company, and everyone starts there from scratch, Yes. And I see it with myself that I could say that when you place He, Jesus Christ, before even me, the name that is held in front of you, TAC, then you'd have more worship and belief in yourself. Like I might within myself if I place my actual name before anyone else and before anything else. And He'll probably always lead me to the place that I have been. And you know how you hear those words all the time, those sentences? I wanted to say, lead me astray then. And it's like that's just what my brain's taking in of that sentence. Like that's the normal praise or the normal phrase that you would say normally. So when you go to say it at home yourself or you try to make it up at home yourself, remember some things can be brain trained into us because they're like captions that are only made that way to be heard. And so when you're going through it in your own head, you'll say, He'll lead me astray. So you won't go with it, because that's the way the brain's been trained to say that lead. It might be if the phrase was normally lead my dog around the back of the house, then you wouldn't say lead you astray, because which is probably why these days on the internet there's all those client-based websites where you get leads. You get the choice to make jobs and people ask you to do the job for them. You get all those leads emailed to you, then you take the job on. And that job will always be taking on Jesus Christ, I believe. And for that day that I am, then I know myself to be believed. Without the name that no one can choose or take, without me not being that name, then I know that name that ain't me isn't the name that I couldn't be. But still I have that name that is me. Like you all at home, your surname will always be your surname. But imagine before there was names. What name did we take? I know, especially in this country, they took the Lord at first and the Lord in front to lead them on the way and to show them the way. Should we camp up here tonight? No, keep going. I'd always say, thanks be to the Lord. The same as in all countries, as we once voiced and voiced for. We always wanted to be led the same way, that we can recover from any other day, or from any pain, or from any mistakes that we made in earlier battles or earlier struggles. And so we placed one name ahead of all our names, until the day that we might have been named with names. And some names were definitely more popular, but they showed the same thing as the equal weight that no one can take if you faced up to the challenge. So as a sinner, I took another name before my own name even. I said my name was Alice Valentine online. And that's probably when I fell from even my own name, my own real surname, or my own blood surname, Condo in this life, and led a stray path from my father and started to do real wrong around the house. And I didn't own up to much of it before he had passed away and died. And I'm only finding out now what it really was that I denied. And maybe if I put Jesus Christ's name first, especially within my own life, if I knew that my name was Jesus Christ my whole life, then I would never have sinned anywhere that I'd been. But remember, I am wicked about my mistakes, and I am wicked about what I inflame. and about what I inflate. And I will live a stray life and a way of life to make in me the same residence that was once given belief and also held with faith around the world and within this universe. As for I myself, it is my trip that I will fall. It is my trip that I will take. It is my mistakes that I will make that will show within me the same way that all you can show yourselves the way to be led before I have been the way that I am, to show within I the mistakes that I make and the mistakes that I have chosen to make, to show within all they who don't make the mistakes, keep their first name or keep their last name and don't go chasing someone else's name or trying to change their name. They probably have stayed close to their comforts, probably close to their amenities, and probably haven't fallen from their own behaviours or fallen from their own sins. But still, if you only take your own surname, then you stay with the behaviours of your adopted family, you stay with the behaviours of your adopted adulthood and your adopted casualties of what you've been aged with or grown up with. If you put Jesus Christ's name first, then what's it going to change for you? Especially if your parents are already in faith. And some children these days aren't led the same way. Because this world is about which faith is right. Back in the old days, there was only one faith in each neighbourhood. So we all took the same faith. These days, every corner, you've got a Hindu restaurant, you've got a Christian brotherhood, you've got a Catholic idol, you've got the indigenous tribes and cultures trying to reconcile with what they've lost and what the differences are between all our religions and faiths. Then you've got Hindu, you've got Muslim people, you've got them all around the world and we're all looking at the right faith and we're all trying to make up which one it is. A lot of people go for Chinese and numerology just because mathematics is such a thing at high school and also at primary school. It's always about how much money did mum give me for lunch, so we always go with the numbers. Then they're led to Buddhist, the Buddhist sort of community or the monkship or monkhood. And it's true that our faith can be placed in a different way, but still our name can't always be chosen to mistake what we have been without the place that we choose to be. And as we name not ourselves before or ahead of anyone else, then we can only mistake ourselves to even place such faith in the neighbouring name, the universe. But when you look at the name of the universe, well, it says Jesus, Son, I first. So even to the universe, which is an adopted idol of the Catholic Western world, made in this city or made in this infidel of the universal state, it's placing one U ahead of any I. Well, that U on the side looks like a G when it's upside, which then looks like an S when it's turned right. And it says G, Sonny, I first, to even the Adalian adoption of the universal tie. Yep. So when you put the Son, the Lord, that is Jesus Christ, the one faith that we all reside with, becomes a lot better. And in my personal way, I have to apologise to all those that lead me to mistakenly place myself where I've fallen and tripped and fallen and sinned, to lead me back into the documents of my own discovery and the knowledge of my own faith and the knowledge of my own wealth, to reveal it once again more to the world than maybe I ever did or ever actually could. Because back in those days, well, no one really felt. It was like fun and games. It was all new and that, Praise the Lord. Yes, he showed us the way. Thank fuck for that. Some bloke we never might have even seen. And we just all knew it. But then after a while, we might have lost it. Oh, maybe that way is the way to go. That Lord there, that faith there. Maybe those terrorists that bombed America are actually doing the right thing. Because their Bible might be the right one. And who knows if America's even right in saying that they were wrong to do such a thing if they're God's first. And when we look at America, it doesn't really have a God. It's not like Italy or like Hindu or like the Muslims themselves. It's not like Buddhist in China or India. It's a government world, so how could they say that they were doing the right thing? So maybe the Muslim God led them there to do the bombing because that world had fallen, which is what we could all say we had seen. Yes, and it's true that we could say even they might have still sinned when they took their own faith ahead of the Lord. And in that saying, well, they actually gave in to their own faith's will to try and get to the moon. Yep. Whereas if they took the Lord Jesus Christ first, he would have announced to them, look how you're putting your suit on today. And they would have felt like, oh, no, not getting on that plane. Not doing it. Yeah, won't even get to bomb myself. No, it'd still be a life, wouldn't they? And I'm sacrificed my own personal deed for all life to be cherished. Doesn't matter what life it is. You know, it hurts me when my mate picks up a machete and cuts the plant on his back patio in half. You know, that made me cringe. I'm going, ooh. You know, like, ooh. And I feel all of that. So I think Jesus Christ would offer you an altar before he offers you to die for some religion or some faith. Really well, my God. Really well, my God. Even the faith of drinking. You know, I'm a religious drinker. I drink every day. Well, what's Jesus going to do? Will Jesus drink the same? If you put Jesus first, then when you're drinking every day, what will you say? And is it religious to drink every day with Jesus? Or is it religious that you have to drink every day? Otherwise, you're not religiously drinking or religiously a drinker. And if you're not in some religion, then you're out of place within the world. And you're not sort of ahead with anyone else. Now, but when you're religiously drinking, then you feel like, yep, I'm there with all those religious drinkers. Like all those Catholics, yep, I'm there with all those Catholics today when I pray at night before bed. Yeah. But if we lead ourselves to seeing that spot when we're drinking every day, who has led us there? The one behind religion. The one behind religion. That's right. So we stop and ask ourselves, hold on, am I drinking for me or am I drinking for he? Yeah. And you might put him first. And you'll drink that beer and go, oh, that tastes a bit funny. Then would you put he first or change what you're drinking? Well, that's very funny. That's very funny. That is. And it's hard for me personally these days. You know, when you know you're not going to die, because it's not like you're facing death, but psychotic break. You know you're not going to die, but it's like you leave yourself. And you take a break from being here, because it's all got too much. You know, everything that's coming across you, it's all too heavy. So you just disperse and go into the car, you know, and then all of a sudden, all that you've made along the way, all your delusions and misbeliefs become ahead of you and represent you. I had beliefs that my mates were in my shoes. Now, some days of the week when I'm talking here, I feel like it's my mate that's actually in my shoes, when it's really just me who made that ideology, and I can hear my mate's voice, I can hear my mate's favour, I can hear my mate's name, and I can hear my mate's take. Some days when I look certain ways, you know, it's like the way that he looked, or the way I've seen him look at people, or look at things in life, you know. And it's all those ideologies that I made up that came forward, because I wasn't going to die. And so something had to live for me when I was on break, because that's what they told me I was possibly having. When your brain's got to go, what the hell's a psychotic break? You know, and you're in hospital. I was in hospital at the time. So it's like, yeah, I'm having a psychotic break. Bang. There I was on holiday. And all these things just came forward. Yeah. And that's why now sometimes I talk to myself online, and maybe it's the best thing for me. Maybe it's what I indeed had made for myself, so I could have this conversation not with just me or you guys at home maybe watching me or thinking about me, but with my children that I say they are my children, you know, the personality types that I now have. Even my mate that sometimes I hear, it's not actually my mate. So I'm probably sorry about that, my mate. Because they would have weighed up for themselves like what my mate would have chosen. Yeah. But really, you're my fan base, my kids. You know, you're here at Faith Church with me, or you're at Faith. You're here with me. And it's like it's my army. It's like it's my personal brethren. It's like here we are in the monastery. And some days I'm here. Some days I'm not here. Other days I can't disperse quick enough. But maybe I got sick for a reason. And that reason I can still issue to myself to be proud of or not proud of, but still show to the world what it might do for us in the future, where we're currently at in this climate and where we're currently at in these seasons. You know, with drugs coming into the world, getting lessened and looser away from faith, what we might end up being in or end up being without if we regretfully take the place that we have named to be forward of what we can make if we put Jesus first and never aside from what we reside with, such as being religiously on the scene these days or religiously in season these days, branding your own names to get children to take, you know, certain sunglasses cases. Even I look at the Sweet Puff pipes that I buy, you know, it shouldn't even have a name on it. It's a bloody instrument. And so then we take that thing first before Jesus Christ. You know, I need my Sweet Puff. You know, it's like I just need Jesus Christ and it won't matter what pipe I buy. It'll all be the same. And I'm going to try it for myself. And if it doesn't work, then I'll know Jesus Christ is a lie. But still, there's work to be done first. You can't just take his name. You got to take all that is made. Worship in place and faith that remains. Mistakes I might take, certain names I might make, till the day I can hold in that name, till the day I can make it, rejoicing in his flame. I know the favours that he rids, I know the kids that he tells, I know the names that he spells. Every day I look at thee, and I face up to me, for I can't just kid myself. I can't just take back what it is that I made up to be believed, 'cause I'm only showing me that it's not a joke. If I choose to take he first, then what would I place? If my name's not there, then what would I take? If I think it's not late, then what do I save? If my spell can't be made, then what do I say? If I'm never here, then what do I share? If I'm never where, then what do I bear? If I can't take this, then what do I save? If I'm looking at a different name, then wouldn't I try escape to all those kids that hold blame, 'cause they think they're not religious enough for hells and slaves. For all those who think that the neighbour's okay, that they walked in a way that made them saved, turn back on that today, turn back on that today, 'cause it's just a hellish game. It's just a way made up for you to take all that they try to punish us with. So turn around and take that name, you know it's mine. Turn around and take that name, you know it's mine. Till the day you reside, then where would you hide? If there's no other name, then wouldn't I choose to deny? Even for me, well, yeah, I was born and baptized, entered into sin. Now they try to deny me the right, but even they are sinners, for they don't put the Lord first. They say that they can judge and make a claim for all of us to be spoiled. But wouldn't you say that the Lord hadn't named even his own faith? So like the Church of Jesus Christ, as a bunch who hold faith in Jesus Christ that started an army to get people together to teach them the same thing that I'm witnessing myself say today to all of you kids out there in this spell class. And I said spell class because then it's like, well, hold on, then I'm in a spell class. Yeah, like you're in a religious orthodox. So what would you take first? Nah, tricky master. Tricky master there, Daddy. Tricky master there, Danny. My son, if thine heart be wise, my heart shall rejoice, even mine. Proverbs 23:16. And then there's one more that I want to say. My son, give me thine heart, and let thine eyes observe my ways. My father of the righteous shall greatly rejoice. He that begetteth the wise child shall have joy of him. Thy father and thy mother shall be glad, and she that bare thee shall rejoice. They have stricken me, shalt they say, and I was not sick. They have beaten me, and I felt it not. When shall I awake? I will seek it yet again. You got to remember these days, some religions have changed the indeed way of what the Lord will praise and honour himself. By not his mistake have I been made. By not his waste have I been taken. For not thee am I not, without thee not being. That's what I mean about all those religious idols. You know, even the name of the Lord can be placed before he, the Lord that is, the one Son, the one Lord and the one God, Jesus Christ. Or the Brethren of the United. No, that's a religious indoctrination. The Lord before anyone else is the true God. The Lord that has no name, or the Lord that shall not be preached as the name. And when one Lord stands up, that is actually the Lord, and the Son that is God, will show the name that is Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ will sin within he to show his name in favour. For the purchase right of the sinners of Jesus Christ are the ones that worship in place, that worship in praise of the sin, where sinners don't free themselves from any shackle, and that's a sin. Just because you have sinned doesn't mean you cannot sin. If one has sinned freely of their sins, then they learn that it's not their sin. The Lord had tripped for them to fall. And when they had fallen into sin, then what did the Lord show? Did you lead yourself to trip? Or was I the one that made you trip? And then when you sinned, you didn't give belief in the Lord. Otherwise, you would never have fallen. So as the religions try to idol you, you have sinned. Condemn that sinner. Salvation is no way possible. Well, it is. At any time, once you have tripped the whole way through, the Lord is waiting for you to take his name. And when you take his name, then he'll lead you out of sin and lead you back to the place that you have to remain. Otherwise, what's the point of sinning? So the Lord leads you to trip. Yep. And when you trip, do you ask yourself, what did I trip for? Or do you believe that you tripped? Or do you believe that what you tripped on tripped you? Or do you believe that he led you to trip? If you believe that the Lord led you to trip, then you're saved and land on your feet. And he leads you the rest of the way. If you believe yourself tripped, then you'll walk into sin. And he's still there the whole way. Like for me, when I gave into sinning and bought drugs instead of food, then he led me to steal from the shops to save me. Otherwise I'd die and become malnutritioned and have no fight in me to even witness his crimes that were the crimes for me to survive. So the Lord is the one that led me to steal, just because I led myself into sin when I didn't place him first. Yep, you got that delineated. As you work out that, remember, lead you astray. Sometimes we speak the words of other criminals. Sometimes the words that we wish to say aren't there to make until we put him first. Then I'm led away from saying, lead me to astray, and led for me to show to myself what it is that I annihilate, the clean passage of my world and the clean passage of my word, that when it becomes freely out of I and spoken within me, then I lead myself away from saying, lead me to astray, and I become led by the passage and the will of God, and find within it that I'm always able. So thanks for tuning in today. We'll see you one after our mistake.